Welcome back. I apologize for taking so long to continue with our B for Bravo list. I made my video, what is almost 2 weeks ago now, for balance, ballast, basic operating weight, and basic empty weight. 4 terms on 4 ideas, all centered around weight and balance, all beginning with B for Bravo. I've been awful busy. B for busy, right? I've been busy with my actual job and then some other stuff I've got going on. I actually sold a property, and for any of you who've ever actually sold a house, you know there's so much extra work. You have to go and clean it out, move all the stuff you forgot you had there, and get everything ready to go so that the buyer can take possession on the appropriate date. So I've been very busy with that. I apologize for neglecting the videos, but today I've got time. We're going to jump right back in and press on with our list. We've only completed the 4, and today I actually wanted to try to get a few more done, and I wanted to start with balloon. We see it on our list, and you know, every time we mention a balloon, I hold up the book, my actual balloon flying book from the FAA, the Balloon Flying Handbook. I am obsessed with balloon flying. Whether or not I ever actually get to do it, hard to say. Very expensive, very time consuming, and it is seeming to me that you really have to know somebody in order to participate. Someday, I hope to go out to Albuquerque, right, to the Albuquerque the Balloon Festival in New Mexico. Whether or not I ever get out there, I don't know about that either, but I would love to someday. But you know, we all sort of have to have something that we're shooting for, something beyond what we do for a living. Yes, we know that balloons are aircraft, lighter than air, right? But it's something beyond what I do, and it's something I like to think about, you know, something to dream about a little bit, something really cool. And I gotta admit, if you do take my advice and ever get any of the FAA free information from their website, this would be one of those handbooks to get. Even if you don't necessarily download it onto your laptop, go back and forth, right? Continue to look it up, continue to read it. When you begin to understand lighter than air, some of the concepts that go along with flying an actual airplane, you have an aha moment because of the way they explain aerodynamics and its relationship to just the manipulation of hot air, cold air. Is the balloon rising? Is the balloon descending? And it sort of makes it all seem, or at least for me, so much clearer. It is a different way to illustrate the ideas that we've been taught as pilots. So it's kind of cool. And I gotta admit, balloons, awesome. You see them from the ground, they're inspiring. Most times we just see pictures of them, really. But reading about them, learning about them, very, very interesting. So I was just going to read you a little tiny bit from my book. And it tells us, right, to create the necessary buoyancy for flight, the air inside the balloon envelope is heated, which causes the air to expand, making it less dense. We understand this. It's one of the basic principles of flight. And when we start looking at meteorology, cold, dense air, nice, thick, compressed air molecules. But when we heat air and it begins to get warmer and warmer, it expands and we have less molecules, which make it more difficult for us in terms of creating lift with the wing. Our density, altitude then comes into play. And when we talk about our engine too, creating thrust, less dense air is not as advantageous for making thrust. So when we talk about a balloon and the fact that we are purposefully heating the air inside the balloon itself in order to make it rise, it then gives us a different way of looking at it. And so it tells us then that once the interior air weighs less than the non-heated ambient air, right, the air around the balloon becomes lighter in weight and rises in an effort to find a level where the interior air density matches that of the exterior air density. Kind of cool. Actually, it's super cool. And so we do know then that the greater the heat difference between the air inside the envelope, being my balloon, and the ambient air, the faster the balloon goes up. After balloon, next I want to look at base, right above it on our list. Bravo, Alpha, Sierra, Echo. My base. In the initial video, I said it was one of our terms that had multiple meanings, and it absolutely does. I mentioned the fact that as a student pilot, when we practice flying in the traffic pattern, we learn to fly crosswind, downwind, base, and then final, when we are learning to get set up to make our landing. And our base leg is where we are downwind and we've begun our descent. And as we turn and look over our shoulder, essentially the numbers, the runway itself, should be 45 degrees behind me when we make our turn for our base leg. We're descending down through. We should be traffic pattern altitude minus about 500, 600 feet. It really depends. Depends on what your instructor teaches you. But we are attempting to get down, right? We're getting set up for that final leg when we make our approach into the runway. And so our base leg, that is the usual use for that term. Now, I had mentioned the fact also that base, as we move along in our career, is going to be part of our daily life with the airline. Where are we based as a pilot? Where do we report for work? Usually, if you're flying domestically in your country, say you are in the United States, like if you, maybe you're Delta, right? Atlanta, LA, Minneapolis, right? JFK, going to be the big hubs for the airline. A lot of crew members, that's where they will be based. It is where your trip will begin, and it is where your trip will end. You may go out, fly, be at an outstation overnight, stay in the hotel, complete several legs the next day, and then eventually return back to base. but it is your crew base. That is definitely a use for the term for us as well. But the third definition that I forgot to actually mention in the initial video was when we talk about our actual clouds, right? The cloud base. The cloud base for us is incredibly important. The lowest altitude of the visible portion of a cloud measured in feet or meters above mean sea level. Next, let's go ahead and look at a couple of our METAR codes. When it comes to the METAR codes, they are an abbreviation. When we start reading automated weather, it has to be coded for brevity. And you, as an aviator, have to learn what all of the abbreviations mean. ICAO has a very defined set of terms to use. The FAA, we take those terms, and the greater majority of them we use as well. We have a little bit of different interpretation for some of them, but it's only a little bit of verbiage that's different. Because when it comes to weather, the abbreviations, the codes, they must all mean the same thing so that we all understand clearly what type of picture, whether it be a forecast, weather in the future, or a current depiction, a snapshot of what is happening right now, that the meteorologists are attempting to paint for us so that we can maintain the highest level of safety. So we learn and practice our codes and our abbreviations. And so I'm going to start putting them in there for us, right? So BLSN, Bravo, Lima, Sierra, November. That's blowing snow. Blowing snow. Snow not falling. Loose snow. Okay, so it is lifted and blown by strong wind. If you are a brand new pilot, the first time you are in the airport environment and you encounter snow, you will discover quickly how rapidly blowing snow can reduce your visibility. It's one of those things that until you experience it yourself, you don't understand. It is a surprising difference. So blowing snow is something that we need to have reported and something we need to know about. It does. Very much like rain. Rain can limit your visibility as well. But at least for myself, blowing snow makes it tricky to see. So blowing snow, Bravo, Lima, Sierra, November. An important code to know. So after that, then comes Bravo, Charlie, Foxtrot, Golf. Now, In America, we tend to joke around and we say becoming foggy. The BCFG actually stands for patchy fog, patches of fog. Right? And patches of fog is just fog covering less than half the horizon. So it is precisely what it sounds like. Patchy, not yet full fog. It does absolutely cover less than half of the horizon. But as a dispatcher or as a pilot, fog, we already know, very, very, very limiting to our ability to see, limiting to visibility. It is going to potentially be the difference between whether we can or cannot take off and whether we can or cannot land. When we have foggy days, they tend to be really bad weather days at work. So fog is one of those things that we need to have a better understanding of. Patchy fog is a good place to begin. Right? So Bravo, Charlie, Foxtrot, Golf. Patches of fog, patchy fog. Let's see, so we did balloon, we did base, we did blowing snow, we did patchy fog. So next,
it's Monday and the bees are still here. Monday morning and it's raining. I wonder what's going to happen to them. I called a bee place. Maybe somebody will come get them. I don't know, I don't think they belong there. Poor bees. They lost their house or something. Something happened. I don't think you just hang on a fence on purpose. I don't know. They're still kind of spooky. Kind of cool, but kind of spooky. I know they're cold though, right? And so like they won't get me because they're cold. Maybe. I don't know. Woo. Bye, bees. I've called somebody to help you. I hope they call me back.